Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's Pyromancer here, and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all having a wonderful morning, evening, afternoon, whatever time it is, wherever you are in the world. Today we're going to be talking about Sylvanas Windrunner, as I know that she is easily one of the most adored characters in the game, probably one of your favorite characters, unless you're on the side of the Alliance, because if you're on that side, well then Sylvanas is evil and horrible, and you want her to burn, right? Not everybody, but a lot of people do. And primarily what I want to discuss with Sylvanas is, will she become the Garrosh 2.0? And it's a question that people have really been asking me a lot lately. And it's something that I've kind of seen discussed here and there. There's a certain group of people out there hiding somewhere, I don't know where they are, but complaining that it seems that Sylvanas is going down this horrific war path, very similarly to Garrosh. Hilariously, even that they're actually making a conquest or an advancement on Teldrassil through Ashenvale. Here's the thing. Is, in my head, Sylvanas going to turn out like Garrosh? No. They do share a lot of similarities. For example, Garrosh was kind of pushed into the war chief position by Thrall, and because he wasn't ready for that, when it probably should have gone to Cairn, he ended up doing some pretty brash, brazen, and aggressive things. However, that is sort of the way of the Warsong clan. That's where Garrosh comes from, right? That's how they do this. And because of that, Garrosh ended up becoming a little bit power-hungry and pursuing, eventually, war with the Alliance, bombing Theramore, for example, which Jaina Proudmoore was not very happy about. Then, of course, you have Garrosh pursuing the Heart of Darkness, if you will, Yasharaj's heart down in the Mist of Pandaria expansion. And we all saw what that did to Garrosh, right? And he was trying to eradicate everybody else in order to obtain the true Horde so he could have mountains of skulls and rivers of blood, and he would obtain his world. Now, this, of course, was with Yasharaj kind of influencing him, if you will. And exactly in what manner the old gods influence, we don't entirely understand. But Sylvanas is a little bit different. Sylvanas was, very similarly to Garrosh, pushed into the war chief position by Vol'jin. The lowest spirit's been talking to Vol'jin, and they've been whispering the name, Windrunner. Right? So Sylvanas is more of the type of leader where she generally would prefer to stay in the back and stay in the shadows and just do her thing and kind of fuck everybody else, right? She doesn't really concern herself terribly with the Horde. Now, we're kind of seeing this turn around a little bit in BFA in the opening cutscene, for example, when she screams for the Horde. I'm sure you've all seen that. That was pretty awesome. As Anduin as well, with his giant bubble of light and healing the other soldiers. Anyway, Sylvanas is a little bit different. Now, while Sylvanas, like Garrosh, did some pretty horrific things in order to obtain and achieve her goals, Sylvanas is a very dynamic and complex character, one that has existed for quite some time, right? And Sylvanas' fate is a bit of a sad one, really, when you think about it. If you guys didn't know, which a lot of people don't, Sylvanas was the Ranger General of Silvermoon, way back when Arthas first attacked them. And when Arthas basically bansheed Sylvanas and twisted her into what she is, and bound her to his will for a time, made her commit unspeakable acts and all sorts of things, this was something that I think is really beyond the comprehension of our mind. Can you comprehend having your soul basically sundered from your mortal body and being turned into an undying spirit, basically? Sylvanas is when you think about it, her being a banshee, she's like half real, if you will, but also half ephemeral, half ethereal, half ghost, kind of, when you really break it down and look at what she actually is. And we've seen her go banshee mode a couple different times. And going back to the general part, she's very meticulous, very patient. Varimathras's dialogue, which never made it into the game, was supposed to suggest that she is patient, that one. Better that you died here where she cannot claim you. And he's talking about Sylvanas, of course. Now, while Sylvanas is very methodical and patient, she also is a cold, general. That's what she does. War is her thing. Ours is a cycle of hatred. Alliance is forged and broken, and we have paid the price for sharing this world. We have forgotten what makes us strong. War. Now, a lot of people tend to think that war makes you weak, but as I've used as an analogy before, think about crafting a sword. You start with a rough piece of metal, and you stoke the flame, and you plunge the sword into the flame, and you draw it out on the anvil and beat the crap out of the sword. And you put it in again, and you pull the sword out again, and you just beat it. And it's this process of throwing it into the flames and molding it and shaping it into a beautiful, sharp, precise weapon. Then once you're at that point, you put it on the grindstone, right? Make sure it's all touched up and everything. And that's how war works. While in that particular instance, you may be weak from going into the flame, you'll be war forged, right? You'll be forged anew, stronger than you were before. And I think that this is what Sylvanas is talking about. Now, I do believe that Sylvanas has good intentions within her heart. This is coming from someone who's played Horde and Alliance, so I like to think that I'm unbiased. I don't care about the Horde or the Alliance, to be quite honest with you. I don't. They're important for our survival, but that is it. If the Horde, the original Horde, from the Burning Legion had never invaded from Draenor, we'd probably all be dead by now. Which most people would see as a bad thing. I, of course, do not see it as so. And that really is where Sylvanas becomes a problem for me. She's so afraid of the other side. She's so afraid of what she saw after jumping off of the top of the Icecrown Citadel and impaling herself on Serenite and then being brought back by the Valkyr. She's so terrified and afraid of what she saw that she's doing everything she can to prevent that fate. But see, this is the error in her ways, is that immortality is not something that we should hold. We should not have immortality. There is this necessary cycle of life and death that exists in the universe, not just in the Warcraft universe, but exists in our own universe. Imagine if today every single person on the planet became immortal. No one could die anymore. What do you think would happen? We would continue to reproduce. We would continue to consume. We would overpopulate the planet even more quickly than we are. Everything would descend into chaos because what are you going to do? Kill me? No. It's not going to happen. You're not supposed to have immortality because it's going to cause immeasurable apocalyptic fallout. Now that leads me to the next point. Sylvanas is, as she is mentioned in the Datamine broadcast text, whether it's accurate or not from BFA, death is something that she is very intimate with, something that she knows better than most other mortals, than most other individuals could comprehend. Now, is Sylvanas mortal in the sense that she can die? Yes. She requires Valkyr to bring her back if she does die. But she can be killed. Can be done. She doesn't want to have to befall that fate. She doesn't want her people to have to go there too. Hence the idea of the Forsaken. Sylvanas created the Forsaken not necessarily just to create rotting corpses that walk around for all of eternity, but to save them from the all-consuming darkness that lay on the other side. But if you listen to the Loa, if you read the Doomsayer's pamphlets released in Legion, you know that death is but a doorway. All that is required is for you to step through it and be born anew. It's part of the cycle, right? Like a deer in the forest. It falls and breaks its leg and dies because it can no longer travel and feed. And organisms, birds, grubs, if you will, bugs, they come, they consume the body, they grow, they produce more. That energy is taken and dispersed, and unfortunately, Sylvanas seems to have a mindset in which that cannot be a thing. And this is the issue. She wants to avoid the finality of death. And that's the scary part. That's why Sylvanas will be a problem for us, not because she wants to kill everyone, but more so because she's trying everything she can to avoid dying herself and having her people die. That's why we're starting to see, for example, in the prologue to Before the Storm, what we were able to see in the preview for that, is that Sylvanas is kind of recognizing, well, hey, if the Forsaken and these desolate council that is apparently working against her in secrecy, if they no longer want me to keep them here, well then hell, they can take care of themselves. To hell with them, literally. And many people ask, well, what did Sylvanas see when she jumped off of the Ice-Crowned Citadel and landed on the Serenite? Well, God knows what she saw, considering it was Serenite. It's blood of Yogg-Saron, so who knows what she saw. But when Odin looked into the Shadowlands, for example, which is where I assume Sylvanas went as well, he saw not only death and darkness and decay, but he also saw life, lending more credence to the idea that there is this necessity for a cycle. What exactly is Sylvanas doing? What is this warpath she seems to be going on if it is true? And I'm still of the opinion, whether Blizzard has convinced you or not, that there is some deception going on here, as there always is. Mortal eyes are so easily clouded. And we are mortals. We're mentioned as mortals literally throughout the game for so long. so long we've been called mortals. Now, what is she doing? What's this thing going on with Teldrassil? First of all, do I believe that Sylvanas burned down Teldrassil? The more that I think about it, the more part of me wants to say yes. But then part of me still wants to say no. A necessary sacrifice, if you will. I have videos, if you haven't seen them, discussing the possibility that the world trees are the 5 torches that the old gods reference. 5 keys to open our way, 5 torches to light our path. And it's possible. We don't have enough proof yet or anything. But I believe that it's very possible that these world trees serve as dream catchers, soul catchers, if you will, that are essentially catching our souls when we die, taking us to not the Shadowlands, not the real Shadowlands. What do I mean by that? Well, we go there with Una, in the Una scenario. We follow her soul rather, into a very dark place. I'm pretty sure it's called a dark place. That is much closer to the Black Forest, to the Shadowlands. When you walk among the Black Forest, then you will see, right? That is the Shadowlands. We're not going there when we die. We're going to the spirit realm. And I believe this to be a little bit different, because spirit is a unique thing. Spirit is the same thing essentially as chi, same thing as a soul. And it seems to me that everything in the Warcraft universe, all the magics, they function off of a soul, whether it's manipulating the soul, destroying the soul, consuming the soul, commanding the soul. There's a way to utilize soul energy. That's the crux to all magics, I believe. They all come from somewhere, whether it's from the arcane powers of the world soul, whether it's using Fel to destroy and rip a soul out of a body. And I think that given that the world trees are linked to the Emerald Dream, a realm of teeming spirits and ephemeral nature energy, it's very possible that the world trees are catching the soul and feeding a little bit of that to something, or taking it, or just resurrecting you so that you may not pass on into death. And don't you guys find it weird that the Valkyr, which are basically a Titanic creation for the record, thanks to Odin, the Valkyr's job is to guide lost souls back to the realm of the living. Why? Why do they do that? A lot of people look at it and say, oh, they're angels. They're saving you. Saving you from what? The eternal torment of death? You think that's what's going to happen in the end? No. They're saving you from continuing the cycle as it should be continued. As I said, death seems to be a necessity. Now, here's the thing. Back to Sylvanas. Sylvanas, if she at any point has come to understand the necessity of death, which I don't think she quite has yet, it is possible that she could have burned down this world tree in order to berid one of the dream catchers, if you will, one of the nets. And Teldrassil is huge. freaking massive, and the roots of this tree spread all over Azeroth, just under the surface, like a net. And I do believe that they are catching us, and if Sylvanas understands that the eternal torment and languish caused by undeath, by, I'm going to refer to it as bansheeism, if you will, by things like, spoiler alert, G'huun's blood plague, it rots you, but doesn't kill you. This is against the cycle. These types of magics, these types of reanimation, it's not normal. It's not good. It's funny because on the cosmology map, they have necromancy on the tier of death magic, for death, on the force, cosmic force of death. That's not right. Why? What do you mean pyromancy is not right? Think about what necromancy is. It's cheating death. You're taking something that which is supposed to die and be dead and reanimating it. That's not right. That's not death magic. That goes against the entire premise of death. You're cheating death at that point. So that can't be right. Necromancy can't be the true death magic. It mustn't be. I believe it's an arcane-fueled form of reanimation, an abomination. Bwonsamdi, the Loa of death, believes this as well. This is the problem with what Sylvanas is doing. It's not that she's on a warpath to kill everyone and be evil. Like I go back to what I said at the start. It's that she's so damn afraid to die that she does all she can to avoid it. For her and for her people if necessary. Now there was a wonderful fan theory that was written to me some time ago in which this individual suggested that Sylvanas was trying to obtain Aegir from Odin, not so that Sylvanas could, like, have infinite Valkyr supplied by Aegir. Because why can't Helya just make Valkyr? She's the Queen Valkyr. So, like, that should be her thing, right? So, what did Sylvanas actually want Aegir for, if that is not the case? Well, he speculated that it's possible that Sylvanas was going to try to use Aegir as a tool to essentially take over the Halls of Valor, to take over the Valhalla of the Warcraft universe, to give her people an afterlife, so that they didn't have to go to the Shadowlands when they died, so that they could instead go to a beautiful realm of light up in the sky, hoisted up there to revel and do all of those things in their days of rest. But this was, of course, foiled by Gen Greymane. Now, Sylvanas actually makes mention of this, that surely if they have heard of the things that I've done, they surely know that Gen Greymane ruined their fate as well, took away their fate. And people took that as, oh, it's because she was going to use Aegir to make them have eternal Valkyr and they would just live forever. But what if that's not what she meant? What if Gen Greymane literally ruined her plan to give her people an afterlife? See, you look at Sylvanas from the outside and you see the Banshee Queen. You see evil. Some of you do, some of you don't. But like I said, she's a much more complex character than we yet understand now. Will she become Garrosh 2.0? No. I don't think that Sylvanas is going to suck in the power of the heart of Yasharaj and turn into a giant old god monstrosity and literally try to destroy the world. But I think she'll find a different way to do it. Now, people, again, see this as evil because we, as humans, are afraid of that which we cannot comprehend, death. Now, we think we know a lot of shit. As humans, we think we've figured out a lot, but there's a lot of things we still don't know. Like what really happens when you die. There's many different religions that believe in certain things. There are scientists that believe in certain things. And then there are philosophers who believe in other things, not tied to religion or science necessarily. Maybe a spiritual plane, which I guess is religious in a sense, but not in that you are worshiping a particular god. But I think that because we're so afraid of dying, we're allowing that to keep us from experiencing the truth, from seeing what our frail, blind, mortal eyes cannot. This is why Sylvanas is a problem, not because, like I said, not because she wants to kill us, but because she's doing everything she can for that to not happen. Whether you believe that or not, of course, is up to you and your bias, if you have one. But like I said, I don't care about the Horde of the Alliance. I don't give a shit about that rivalry. I play both, and I read about both. It matters not to me at the end of the day who succeeds, only that the truth is revealed to us, and it still hasn't been. I'll finish with this. Every good story has a twist. Every good story has some type of twist. Where's the twist in the WoW universe? Where is it hiding? Because as of right now, we think that the Burning Legion, death, decay, and the void are all the bad things because our eyes have been led to believe and to be shown that order, nature, and light are the good things. And while they are good in the sense that they create and do all, they have caring and they, function off of hope and those types of things. Like I said before, our mortal eyes are so easily clouded from the truth. And part of that is that death and the void and those things are a necessity to the existence of all things. And that when you cut those things off and you exile them, and you make them the perceived evil, and there is no true good and evil in the WoW universe, I'm a strong, firm believer of that, your mind becomes biased in the grand scheme of things. Are the old gods really all that bad for what they did, giving us our free will, as Algalon points out? Perhaps it is your imperfections, that which grants you free will, that makes you strong. Now, not every race comes from the old gods, of course, but we're all mortal, and mortals all die. That's the key to it. We're no longer shackled by the curse of stone, the curse of Titan forging. That's why they call it the gift of flesh, not the curse of flesh. They call it the gift of flesh because it gives you things that Titan forged don't have. Free will and emotion. As Algalon points out as a constellar, I've seen them burn hundreds of worlds, innumerable worlds, a million lives wasted. And I have been devoid of emotion, of empathy. I have felt nothing, he says. So is it truly the curse of flesh, or mortality, that we should be set free from in the end? Or is it the curse of stone, the curse of Titan forging, the bindings that were designed for us by the makers, by the almighty and benevolent by nature Titans? We need to escape their grasp. We need to escape their will in order for us to see what is actually going on here. And like I've mentioned before, I think Sylvanas, whether she likes it or not, made a deal with Helya. And when you make deals with death, you better fulfill them. Helya gave her part of the deal. She provided the soul cage, which Sylvanas was to use for Aegir. Again, Greymane ruined that, but that's not Helya's problem. That's Sylvanas' problem now, and it's about to be our problem. So I believe that very similarly to how Gul'dan and Medivh opened a portal from Azeroth to Draenor to allow the Orcish Horde to invade, Sylvanas and Helya might just have a little bit of a deal with a similar consequence to a realm that our mortal eyes have not yet been laid upon. With that, I thank you for watching this video. If you guys are new to my channel, make sure you smash that subscribe button. Why do I say smash? I don't know. Don't smash it. You'll break it. Don't do that. Make sure you click on that notification bell as well, because YouTube doesn't want you to watch my videos, apparently. If you hit subscribe, you're not subscribed. You're not going to see the video. So you might as well hit the notification button as well. Click like on the video if you liked it. If you disliked it, well, you know what to do. Leave a comment. I'd love to have your input on the video. If you guys don't know, I do have a Twitter, Twitch, Patreon, and a viewer Discord where you guys can come and hang out, express your theories, share your thoughts, maybe just chat and just chill a little bit. I'd love to have you guys over there. If you guys don't know, if you're a Twitch subscriber, you actually do get a special rank in my Discord, as for all my Patreons as well. And a special shout out to my Patreons. Thank you guys for making this possible, because YouTube, like I said, is it's not doing well right now, and I appreciate it. All the support on Twitch has been immaculate. We got like 70 subscribers in one day a couple days ago, so I can't thank you enough for that. You guys are amazing. That's pretty much it. You guys stay awesome, and until next time, I will see ya later. Peace.